Here's the obstacle in the way of you enjoying true freedom of health: a lack of funds to support both being proactive on the front end as well as being reactive to the devastating, unexpected healthcare costs that may come in later life. Well, hi there, friends. This is Colin Richards, and coming back to you here in this segment of the Lord and Richards Show, we're going to continue to build on the three key elements of a carefree, happy, free retirement, and that is freedom of time, the ability to have the time that you need with the people that you love to do what you love. And to do that, we're going to need a distribution specialist to replace the income effectively that we lose when we step away from our job. Okay, now we're going to move on to that second area, freedom of health. Okay, so freedom of time, freedom of health, freedom of wealth. And I want you to have all the time that you need, but if you have all the time in the world and your health is broken, or you don't have access to the funds to make sure that you live a long and healthy life together, we want longevity with health, with strength. As the Bible principle says, as your days, so shall your strength be. That's my prayer. I don't want to live longer than I have the strength to enjoy. So excellent health in retirement will enhance your ability to pursue those ultimate goals around happiness, fulfillment, purpose, relationships, love. So let's build our health, okay? And if you're healthy, someone has wisely said, you have 1,000 desires. If you're not, you have but one, right? And we're going to prioritize healthcare. Now, by this, you might be thinking I'm talking about the kinds of things that are normally covered by your health insurance. Well, those are acute problems, right? I broke my ankle, or I tore a ligament, or I have a disease, I had a heart attack. Acute problems are covered by your normal health insurance. But there's another area called chronic illness, and those are the kinds of things that are not covered by your normal health insurance. After 90 days, you're going to be on your own and have to pay out your own money until you're either bankrupt or gotten down to the last few pennies, and then finally Medicaid kicks in. It doesn't kick in until you're broke. It's designed for the poor. But what I want to start with isn't really either of those. I want to start with this idea of being preventative and proactive. You say, oh, I get regular checkups, I take vitamins. Well, that's great. But I'm talking about the kinds of things where you can invest in your health care. So an abundant income, which gives you freedom of time, should also provide enough money so that you can invest proactively in your fitness and your vitality, delaying the onset of diseases that normally come as we get older, the high blood pressure, the diabetes, and so forth. So we're talking about getting ahead of the curve. Now, you might say, well, I'm well down the road, Colin, but it's never too late to start. And so having the money to invest in things like, your fitness, equipment, trainers, being able to get out and do things that you love, whether it's on a bicycle or walking or whatever. Some of these things, a little bit of money would help you to do a lot more. And also vitality, right? Being able to invest in proactive testing so that you can see where potential problems may be and attack them before they rise to the level of being acute and falling under your normal healthcare. So we're really talking about investing in yourself, and we're going to need abundance of income to support that, as well as your freedom of time. So freedom of health and freedom of time are both supported by your income. Now, when you are in older age, hopefully this doesn't happen when you're younger, the risks of chronic illness are multiplied, especially if you have not invested in your fitness and vitality when you were younger. And with those chronic illnesses that aren't covered by regular insurance come crushing costs frequently. So here's the obstacle. Here's the obstacle in the way of you enjoying true freedom of health: a lack of funds to support both being proactive on the front end as well as being reactive to the devastating, unexpected healthcare costs that may come in later life. So lack of funds to support that. So getting ahead of that. Now, the first area of income supporting your proactive health, that's realistic, right? That's realistic. But when it comes time for the reality of a chronic illness, that means you've gotten to a point where you can't perform 2 of 6 activities of daily living. Those have been predefined for us, things like being able to feed yourself and dress yourself and so forth. Or if you have cognitive impairment. So if you can't do 2 of those 6 activities, you qualify for long-term care. Your insurance isn't going to cover it. And we cannot rely on our work insurance, our private health insurance, or even Medicare for a chronic illness bill. They just won't pay past 90 days. We hope you never face this, but the truth is that over 70% of people we're talking to are going to face this, and an average nursing home or skilled nursing stay can extend multiple years at hundreds of thousands of dollars, and this is why I say the cross can be crushing, okay? We don't want you to have to go through that. And either being proactive to avoid the onset of these chronic diseases or also having the financial wherewithal to address them without going bankrupt is the key. So here's the solution, okay? If you're chronically ill, long before that, we need to create a way to leverage what I call OPM. You know what that means? Other people's money, to provide you or your spouse, if they're caring for you, the funds needed to cover those high costs. Because what happens is if we don't have a solution in place that's at the ready, the stress of this is overwhelming. Caregivers often age prematurely, shortening their lifestyle, falling under additional stress that may lead them to chronic diseases and chronic illness. And we don't want to put that pressure on our family or those that we love. So most of us, as I talk to people like you every day, are telling me, Colin, I don't want to be dependent on others. I want to be independent financially, even if I go through a chronic illness. And I can tell you, the solution isn't to stick our head in the sand. Now, there are some tools available, but they're not all created equal. So in our next segment, I'm going to do a deeper dive into the tools that are available to enjoy the funding you need to really have this freedom of health that we're talking about. But in the meantime, we need to get busy. We need to get started on your comprehensive retirement plan. And we call it a retirement freedom review, where we just sit down together and you share with us the things and the people and the goals that are most important for your retirement happiness. What would make you carefree, take away the worries, and allow you to enjoy and live the life that you want to the fullest without concerns or worries. And then in the process of doing that, we're going to develop a written plan so that whether it's income for freedom of time or income for proactive health care, or whether it's funding for the reactive health care like chronic illness, you're going to have the certainty, the assurance, the peace of mind knowing that this has been taken care of in advance. I'm ready to visit with you. My team and I would be delighted to talk. It simply starts with a phone call.